I'm Colin Bligh, and I joined up from school in the army. I went off to a young soldiers battalion to start with, and then I went through Sandhurst and was commissioned into the Royal Tank Regiment, and then I was posted overseas. I went to Italy at the end of 1943, and because there had been heavy casualties in the landings at Salerno, us tank officers were put into the infantry to make up for the losses. And I've spent 3 months with the infantry in 46th Division in a Yorkshire battalion. We crossed a river and fought in the mountains until one night I was in a jeep with my company commander, and we went into a pothole of some sort and turned over and rolled over down the hillside to the next road, which was down below. And I don't remember much about that, except I remember someone helping me. And I can remember going into an ambulance, and I remember being in a hospital train, and then a hospital down in the south of Italy. Because I was still dressed in my tank officer's uniform, when I came out of hospital, I got back into the tank reinforcement train, and I never let on that I'd been in the infantry, and I was very glad to get back to tanks. And then I joined another Yorkshire Tank Regiment just after we captured Cassino. Cassino was a very bloody war. There were 4 battles there. I took part in the first battle for Cassino in the infantry, and in the 4th battle of Cassino in tanks, when we broke through and went on to Rome, and then we went north. The memories of the fighting was discomfort and moments of fear. The winter was cold and wet, and sometimes our wet clothes were literally crisp frozen. It was so cold. And as an officer, you always had to be doing something extra. When you stopped and were resting, you had to go and do a reconnaissance and meet up with other people ready for the next attack. And so you were always on the go. You missed your meals, and you were just tired out. Fatigue and discomfort are memories. I know an officer had a batman who looked after him, and he needed it because he never had time to sort of cook his own food or make his own cups of tea or that sort of thing. And one of the batman's jobs really was to go with you and be your bodyguard. And then I got back into tanks, and that was much more comfortable because they were nice and warm in winter, and you drove everywhere. You didn't carry everything like you do in the infantry. And so it was relatively comfortable. You had the nasty moments being shot at, and I was knocked out twice, but luckily I was never caught fire. I had the front of the wheels of my tank were knocked off by an anti-tank gun once, and on another occasion we went over a mine, and that knocked us out. As an officer, you had to, if you got out of your tank, you had to go and get into another one, and you usually took the corporals, the junior tank commanders' tank, and carry on with keep the party moving. It was always a question of get on, and what's the hold up? Move on was the cry from behind. And I was frightened, and one was worried of what the outcome was going to be, and I used to say prayers as I was going along and just ask God to look after me. How many people I caused to die, I don't know, but I made mistakes like everyone else. At 19, you don't know anything about it. The first time I was shot at by an enemy anti-tank gun, I didn't realize it was an anti-tank gun. I was 19 years old, commanding this tank with a crew of 4 others who'd fought through North Africa and knew all about tank fighting. And I remember the operator saying, you know, that was AP, that was armour piercing, sir. But I hadn't realized it. And before I could do anything, we were hit. The next shot hit us and knocked us out, well, damaged the tank. Luckily, we were on a slope and we rolled back down the slope to a safe position. But, you know, I was that green. And I blush to this day when I think of how I had those chaps were dependent on me, and I knew so little about what I was doing. It was, and that applied to so many others. I hope they remember that people gave their lives for the lifestyle that they now enjoy. And by Jove, they do enjoy a good lifestyle. They're here, there and everywhere. They're well dressed, they've all got friends, they go holidays and things, they've got good parents. Luckily they're fairly well off. But it's all come by the sacrifice of others. And Poppy is a sort of remembrance really of the sacrifice others have made for what they're enjoying now, and what I've enjoyed for the rest of my life, for that matter, too. Because I've had a jolly good life.